Soon, Stanley was hooked up to Thomas. Then Stanley huffed and puffed. Thomas was very heavy. There was a lot of water in his firebox. Stanley didn't give up. "I can do it," he wheezed. And with a mighty heave, Stanley pulled his friend back onto the track. "Hooray!" tooted Thomas. Then there was a very loud crack. The valve in Stanley's boiler had burst. Stanley was a very strong engine, but pulling Thomas had been too much. Now he couldn't move. Stanley felt very sad. "Don't worry," whistled Thomas. "It's my turn to help you. I'll shunt you home." Stanley smiled. Thomas was his new friend. There was nothing Thomas wouldn't do for Stanley. The fireman put Stanley's dry coal into Thomas's firebox. In no time at all, Thomas's boiler was bubbling, and his steam was wheezing. "Here we go, Stanley," Thomas huffed happily. Stanley smiled back. And puff by puff, Thomas shunted Stanley along the track. It was very hard work. Thomas had to puff up hills and huff through bushes. But Thomas didn't mind. He was proud to push his new friend Stanley home. At last, Thomas and Stanley puffed into Great Waterton. Thomas was tired, but he had never felt happier. Henry, Rocky, Edward and Emily were busy working. They tooted and whistled when they saw Thomas and Stanley, and soon the sound of engines' whistles were echoing around Great Waterton. The news spread throughout Sodor.